think people know when we're going on air, and they bring their noisiest motorbike and run it past my house, or a tractor.
I've said before you're in a really noisy neighbourhood, but this is really nice. I mean, the weather's nice. That's why we're outside, and we have a really nice guest.
We have
with us.
Gordon Knibbera for Aaron Cheese Company. If you have bought cheese and you're on the mainland and you've not met Gordon, this is the guy that sits in the back and just bosses everybody else around. Is it not?
Yeah, that's my job.
Got you on record now.
That's my job.
So Gordon's here, and we're going to try something a little bit later, because Gordon doesn't just do cheese, as you might know from the last year or two. You've been doing.
Yeah, for the last 2 years I've been selling Highland cut beef. I've got my own Highland cattle, which we've had for about 4 years.
Yep.
They're 4 years old before they're fully grown and ready.
Right, ready to be.
So last 2 years we've been selling them.
So we have some of Gordon's steaks here. The barbecue's lit, and I've taken this on myself.
Wasn't my idea.
Go away. I've taken this on myself, so we're going to try and make some steak sandwiches. We've got my son Carter and my niece is up from Cambridge, so the reason for that little bit of bad weather this morning was because Anya and Mark are here. Say hello.
Hiya.
Anya always tends to bring up the bad weather, so you can blame her. But we're going to try.
That's she's doing all right now.
We're going to try. Try. Yeah, it's quite nice now. We're just about to lose the sun though, so we're going to go in the shade in a minute. So that's that. Now we're going to go through the usual stuff. What have we got? Can I mention the co-op first?
Okay.
The co-op have won Team of the Year nationwide.
Well deserved.
Yes, absolutely. So they've got that to show off at the moment. So that's quite an achievement with the number of co-ops there are. So
I think they've worked really hard. So they have worked really hard to make it, as easy for locals during this difficult time. On top of everything else they do.
Yeah.
So no, gold star to
Good.
them.
Yep.
Well done. Do they get a prize for that? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Is it just a wee certificate, or do they all get a holiday somewhere exotic?
Well, where's exotic at the moment? Like Kildonan or something?
I was thinking more on Lash.
We do have to explain something. I don't know, eagle-eyed people will notice that Heather and I are sporting very strange bugs crawling up our shirts. We have actually invested in our new
I want to give mine a name.
wireless microphones, so we have a little bug to protect it from the wind. So that's what
I think it just needs a couple of googly eyes now. That's all we need. That's all we need. What else? I've had quite a few visitors to the studio this week. They're all lovely. They're having a really nice time and obviously enjoying the weather.
Do you get lovely customers?
Yeah, I get lovely customers.
Some of them are all right. Some of them are all right.
You get nice customers.
All our customers are lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, we get a lot of good
This is
customers.
why I shouldn't be doing retail, because I can't say that.
What we are getting just now, about every hour you'll get somebody that comes in with no mask. And our staff will remind them to put the mask on, and you get ones that don't want to, say they've got a reason for not wearing a mask, but evidently a lot of them it's obvious that they're at it type of thing.
Yeah.
So we're kind of getting that to a degree, but most of our customers are good.
Mine have been okay so far. I've heard of people that have gone in. I've actually witnessed in the local shop people just wanting to nip in quickly without a mask, and it's like, no, you need a mask. But what I was going to say is that most of the visitors that I've had have all complimented the island as a whole for their vigilance on masks and the gel, hand wash and everything, and they feel very safe and very welcome being here in holiday, which is good.
Yeah, we get a bit of that. My niece and nephew were over, and they're from Glasgow, and they were in our shop and they were saying how well it's done. We've got the traffic light, we've got 3 areas, and until one area is clear, nobody gets in. And so on, and we've got the perspex up over the counter, so my staff and the customers will never ever be face to face. And these guys were saying how well it's done, and in Glasgow a lot of shops haven't really done much or done nothing.
Yeah, I hear this.
You know, and it's just the guy behind the till shouting at the customers to put a mask on
Yeah.
and not worried about 10 folk in one area type of thing, you know.
Well, I had a couple in that had been shielding. They were from down south, and they said they didn't feel safe, but they wanted to go somewhere, and they thought this sounded from things they'd heard was safe, and they felt really secure coming to the island on holiday because people were putting the right measures in place. So that's good.
I think, I don't know whether you feel it, Gordon, but I think there's a lot of people that haven't been to Arran before here this year simply because they're not being able to go anywhere else. And they seem to be gravitating into the hotspots of Brodick, if you like. You know, your around your place next to Arran Aromatics as well, and then downtown Brodick, as it were. And I'm hoping that they're realising that there's more to Arran than just the beaches, because it's been such a spectacular week of weather as well. But you know, I'm hoping that they come back and do what everybody else does, and that's just disappear, because Brodick, well, they disappear up the hills or do their own thing, don't they? Everyone that comes regularly has got their own favourite place to go, and then
You do find that, you know, like hundreds of people come off the ferry,
And then they
and
just-
half an hour later there's
they just
nobody.
evaporate.
Yeah.
This year, I think what's happened is they get off the ferry and they park in Brodick, and they queue for about 4 hours outside Little Rock, you know, because it's just.
No, they go to
absolutely
the
mad.
cheese shop and they stock up.
No, I don't agree with you totally, Graham. Blackwater's busy.
Who invited him?
On Tuesday we were up at Lochranza, and so Blackwater was busy. On the drive up Machrie Tea Room, there's a lot of cars parked. There was a lot in Pyrmill. And then the Corrie Lochan, just after Pyrmill, there's a walk up the hill.
Oh, it's a fabulous
Yeah,
walk.
well, there's
yeah.
about 15 cars parked there that folk had.
So the
left to
island
go
on
up.
the whole is just really
Lochranza had
busy.
a lot of folk. So, you know, they're getting outside Brodick, there's no doubt.
I've never seen so many people on Whiten Bay Beach. It's lovely actually to
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
and they're keeping to their own wee areas, but they're out and they're, you know, paddleboarding, kayaking, swimming, and they've probably all been to your shop and stocked up with some nice cheeses so they can have a picnic.
so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Mark's saying today's subtitles include sailing beef. We don't
We
have
can't
a
control them. They just
No,
decided they
if
were.
you turn your volume on the phone, you're not watching it. The subtitles disappear. You won't see the subtitles. Gus Simpson saying totally agree. Aaron is really well organised. Re COVID, it feels very safe. I think it does. I think
Yeah, no,
it's-
that's good. It does.
One of the differences between here and the city is you've got all this space,
Yeah.
you know, and folk don't need to be crammed in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even when they are in the queue there's always a queue for wheelies.
Yeah.
You know, but you see them
Yeah.
you're behaving and keeping
Yeah,
the
yeah,
distance between
Having
them.
said that, sometimes, I mean, the other day they were triple parked. That's the one thing with the traffic. I'll get my wee bit in this. You know, we still have the same rules and regulations for driving over here, and it doesn't mean, you know, like people park double yellow lines don't mean anything, or they double park. That kind of, yeah, said it. Okay, that it.
Have you had that?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It is a wee bit annoying. Well, it's more than annoying, because I wanted to double park and it was
Should've
triple
put-
parked. I couldn't get
I should put Road Rager on your T-shirt.
Road Rager. Yeah, that's that
You
kind
get
of.
that every summer though.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
You do.
Can we keep on to cars for a minute? Because I always
No.
like to get a little. No, just this includes you. I always like to mention car, and there is a lovely looking. If you've seen this one, and they're not that common. A BMW i8 Roadster, which is a hybrid. The reason they're not common is because they are quite expensive. Those cars are about 90,000, I think, the Roadsters. And it's been kicking about Brodick quite a bit. If you've seen that, that's what that car is. A BMW, very rare to see over here.
Do we know who owns it? No.
We don't know. But while Gordon's here, we should point out that Gordon has the only Lamborghini on the island.
Wow.
Do you not? As far as we know.
As far as I know, however, it's a tractor, Graham.
Yeah, I
and
know.
It doesn't
I know.
go
Well,
as fast as you probably
I was,
like.
I
But
was
it'll
going to
have the
mention
badge
that.
on it, won't it? It'll have the
It's got
logo.
Lamborghini
Yeah, yeah.
badge on it.
The logo has been the same. In fact, they've just stopped using that Lamborghini script, except if they're going to put it on a vehicle. But Ferruccio Lamborghini started off making tractors, and you made a very big point a couple of years ago telling me that you had one
Yeah.
on the island, and
yeah.
and it must be what, 1950s, 1960s, is it?
No. 1983.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they still make they're still
still make
making. And they're absolutely astonishing things now. You can actually walk alongside a new Lamborghini tractor without sitting in it and steer it using a joypad and a little.
Why would you do that?
Well, if you've got, say you want to check out something that's going on at the back of the tractor, if you've got a cedar on the back or something, and you can go around and you can still keep the control.
Oh, right,
the
okay, that
tractor's
makes sense now.
So they're lovely. So someone's, Callum Haddo, I like the red Toyota Aygo. Yeah, cars has been car spotting, haven't you? What have you seen around and about recently?
I saw a GT86 like an hour ago.
A GT86, yeah. Okay. Well, the white BMW is still on the island because I passed it about half an hour ago, just coming up the road. So yeah, there's been some nice.
I just look at the colours.
Yeah.
I did ask you what colour your tractor was
Noisy.
too.
Noisy motorway. Just in case you wanted to know what the weather was like, that was this morning looking from over the top of Brodick Castle. It's been, it was a bit cool this morning.
It was. I went up to the Giant's Graves and round in Whiting Bay, and I had my jacket on. It was colder, so I just walked faster, and then it was fine.
But yeah, but it warmed up. It's been a cracking week, hasn't it? Really.
That's been excellent, yeah. And one of the things, so the last couple of days, Blackwater Foot in the morning has been roasting, and I've come to work at the cheese shop. You come over the hill and you're in cloud. Come down here and it's overcast, and the mornings have been cooler in Brodick, whereas Blackwater's getting all the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep hearing that. Yeah.
It's always that way.
People coming over. Well, the wind goes generally over that way, doesn't it? So, yeah, they can always get the good weather in Blackwater Foot before we get it here.
Can we go back to tractors? I was really excited about tractors. And we briefly mentioned before we started here that the tractor run over at was it Shiskin? All these tractors were from Shiskin?
All the tractors were from Shiskin, and it was for the nurses, when everybody else was out clapping. We did
just drowned them out.
We just drowned them out with tractors, and so there's a lot of vintage tractors, but also just the modern ones. And there was 24. Second time we went out, there was 24 tractors, which when you've got them lined up in the road with a wee bit distance between them, you know, it's like half a mile's worth of.
I saw the photographs. It was so impressive.
It was quite good. So.
And that's just from Shiskin area. It's not the whole island.
No, all these tractors came from Shiskin.
Do you think if you got all the tractors on the island, I mean, how far would that stretch?
Well, I haven't a clue.
Three times around the moon and back.
No, but you could maybe get in the Guinness Book of Records for the longest chain of tractors.
Not in Arran, I wouldn't have thought.
No, I think that's probably
not in
Arran.
And a lot of the vintage tractors on the island are at Shiskin, and so there's folk at 3 and 4, and so.
So do people collect tractors?
Yeah.
I mean, is it a thing you collect, not just for you? Because I mean, you have a farm, so obviously.
So I've got a farm and I use a tractor, but I've also got another 3 vintage tractors, or older tractors. There's the one that sits at the cheese shop, the grey Fergie, and that's great, you know, and the amount of folk. And I put it there thinking that kids would come and play in it.
No, it's adults.
Aye. But I thought kids will come and play in it, and then halfway through the holiday, Mummy will say, "Where do you want to go today?" And the kids will say, "Back to that tractor," and I'll sell more cheese. And that was my logic behind it. But there's more adults that get fun out of it, you know, and you go in there often and you've just got a crowd of adults around it.
At the Grey Fergie, everyone's heard of a Grey Fergie.
Everyone's heard of it, but there's a lot of guys my age, maybe older, that are looking at it with a big smile, and you know, finding they drove one when they were a boy.
Because everyone learned to drive in a tractor.
A lot of folk our age worked in the countryside. You know, farmers needed a lot more hands than they do now, and so they went potato picking, haymaking and such. So, so there's that connection there, yeah.
So I take it you're pretty handy with the tools on a tractor. You can.
I can do some stuff, yeah.
Well, the man that's just built, a pizza oven out of an old gas cylinder.
Yeah,
I take it you took the gas out first.
That was the hardest bit.
Really?
Yeah, because how are you going to get the gas out? If you go into an angle grinder and cut it, imagine there's gas in it.
You're going to blow up.
And there's stories about that, folk landing in other fields and stuff.
That would have been quite impressive.
So what I decided to do was fill
If
up.
anyone's thinking and doing that, call us first. We'll come and we'll film it.
I thought you were going to say, don't try this at home.
Don't
but
try this at home.
You're actually encouraging people to do it, just so we can get more hits on our.
Well, I decided to fill up with water. But it's only a toty wee valve. So it took me about half a day to get the thing with toty wee pipes and messing about to get the thing full of water before I then emptied it and started chopping at it. But aye.
Right. So is it working as a pizza oven?
It works.
There's gas
It
cylinder.
works well. I could do a couple of tweaks, but it's working well. I've got a kind of log fire that are light in the bottom, a door at the bottom, and then we've got a door at the top, like a letterbox, and there's a piece of stone in there.
Very,
And
very ingenious.
it's working out.
Everyone else just goes to the parlour.
Yeah, I know.
I go to the parlour as well. I like my pizza.
I like a good pizza.
I like my pizza. Parlour pizzas are good.
Parlour's, the parlour's still
Yeah.
busy, and the Chinese still hasn't opened. We still don't know quite what's going on with the Chinese, but I think one of my friends is up next week and was asking if we had to book ahead. I think it's still on the case that most restaurants are taking bookings at the moment, aren't they? Because you just can't turn up because there's lack of seating.
Yeah.
There's a drop in numbers of seats.
A lot of them aren't. The parlour was taking bookings for pizzas, so
Yeah.
if you turned up, you couldn't.
Just even if you just wanted to take away pizza, because they're not having
Yeah.
people sit in, you have to book a pizza in
Yeah.
advance. So it's a very strange situation.
Well, it
But,
makes you think about it through the day, and you get it sorted, and then that's you fixed.
Or you
You're
go
not-
off and buy an angle grinder or a welder
you're
and
not- and make your own.
Make your own pizza. But a lot of people,
Right.
I think, over lockdown, a lot of businesses have looked at the takeaway aspect more, and they're delivering really good service. I mean, how did that work for the cheese shop? Because your hampers normally at
Yeah.
Christmas are flying out the door, but were you still doing a lot of that?
So what happened, and it amazed me, was that we started promoting the hampers on Facebook, doing like and share competitions. We emailed so we've got something like 4,500 folk that have already used the website, that Tom's got their email addresses, so we emailed all them, and I don't like doing that, and I do it as a rule once a year, 2 months before Christmas. But we did that twice, and we were in April. So last April, a year past, we did something like 54 hampers sent out for the whole month. And this April, we averaged 30 a day.
Wow.
So we did 928, I think, for April.
because I remember going in to see you at the very first hint that there was going to be a lockdown, and we were both kind of worried, and I was more
Yeah,
worried
yeah.
for you because you had staff. And I remember you're standing in your office and you're going, "This is going to absolutely cripple us."
I was pretty terrified because
Yeah.
our whole thing, but remember, there's other companies and there's hotels and
Yeah.
such that have suffered an awful lot more than
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
And we came through it okay. We obviously didn't do as well as we would expect to do, but we came through it okay. But the first few days, I'd said to my staff, who wants to, if there's work to be done, who wants to be working, and there's quite a few wanted to self-isolate. And so that was fine. We kind of got it down, and then the hamper started. One of the first things I did was email all the folk in the hamper list, and they started to pick up. That gave us a bit of work.
They were such a good price, though, the hampers. Some of the
Well, we
hampers were...
kind of were doing that just to get the sales through, to a degree, but just to keep the money turning. And because my biggest expense is my staff wages, and I've got 12 staff, and so
I just don't pay them.
But,
They've all
uh,
said to me they didn't want.
the furlough thing helped us out a lot, an awful lot. We wouldn't have got by with
But
it.
do you think now that you've done the hampers all year, that you've had them in the summer, that people might think about? Because I thought, that'd be a nice thing. You could send it down to so and so. You could do that. You always thinking Christmas with hampers, but you could do
Yeah,
it.
well, we were always doing that. We were always getting birthdays and different things. And as I said, a year past in April, we did 54, so it's 54 we
Yeah,
did there.
still.
The numbers now have dropped to probably an average of 7 or 8 a day. And they dropped once lockdown was released. But some of our wholesale has picked up a bit. So wholesale would be going to farm shops and delis and such. And I think these places are a lot busier now than they've ever been, because people are not wanting to go to a supermarket because they're crushed in with all these folk.
No, they want to buy local small
And
businesses
There was
that
a business in, South Beach Stores in Ardrossan, and the boy there was buying some cheese from me to sell, but what he told me he had done, this was lockdown, he'd put up market stalls outside the shop,
All right.
and he was selling all his stuff off of these market stalls, and the shop was busier than ever it had been, because people felt it was safe
It
to
was
shop
safer.
here.
Well, we've
As
had stuff
opposed to-
outside. During the last week, we've had stuff outside our shop on tables. We've had a £5 table and a £2 table, and
Yeah.
stuff that we needed to get rid of, or it was just old stock or whatever. And we've done very well out of it. In fact, Carter's actually sold quite a lot of toys out of his old collections and stuff, just having jumble sales. So. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start making something to eat, you can talk to Gordon about, because he's really here to talk about his cheese, we presume, and his beef. And what?
I like talking about tractors. That was really interesting.
Yeah, well, the sort of comments dropped off a little bit when we started talking about tractors, simply because half of the comments are by Carter's friends talking about BMW or something. But anyway, so we've got a second camera up and running. So if you want the second camera, it's that one there. So you just press that one.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the second camera. And you can go back to you anytime. So
Oh, I get to
Don't-
play with the buttons
you get
now.
me, that one and that one. Don't get confused. Don't get me doing something bad. If I drop something down the side of the barbecue, don't get that. And I'll tell you what I'm doing and what I've done with these steaks.
That's good. Now we can just sit and chat.
So,
That's really good.
it's-
And you can still hear me because I've got my cordless on.
Of course, I can
Yeah.
still hear you. So why cheese? I mean, what got you into cheese?
So I was looking for a change about 20 years ago, 18 years ago we moved here. My mum had a caravan down at Cordon
All right.
and we used to come over and I just loved it over here. And I put an advert in the local banner saying I was looking for a business. And the only phone call I got was from Ian McCleary who had the cheese shop.
Right.
And I came over and looked at it. And I'd done a bit of farming in my life but I'd never done cheese making. But I came over and looked, thought, and the deal I had with Ian was I would buy it, but I worked for him for a month before I took it over, and then he worked for me a couple of days a week
Just to
for
make
a few
sure,
months
so that-
until we got it all up and going, and so that was that. And then a few years later, the soft cheese is made over at Bellevue, and that still belonged to Ian McCleary and Susie Murchie and Donald Murchie and so on. And they were going to stop doing that, so I ended up buying that and making the soft cheese. The
Sorry.
blue, the
And
green,
it's
the
the
purple.
award-winning cheese,
And
isn't it?
it does well, it's good cheese, and yeah, it's won a lot of awards. Blue cheese was the best in Scotland last 2 years running.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And you do
So-
the camembert and the brie as
over
well.
there.
So Gordon, I've got if you want to click on just Anya's got the camera here, so we'll. And so what we've got is we've got two of your sirloin steaks here,
Yeah,
but I've sliced them, and it's like don't try this at home. But slicing the steaks lengthways is a little bit of a task.
You need a filleting knife for
Well,
that, I think.
Yeah, you
I've
need
got
a
a very
big
sharp
fork.
knife from your favourite store, IKEA. So I've just put a little bit of olive oil and black pepper, and this just feels like one of those Bambergas. No, it's not Bambergas. What was it? It was the guy that. Oh, the
Bambergas.
Galloping Gourmet.
The
Do you remember
Galloping
that?
Gourmet. Yes, he was from Skye.
yeah.
Was he?
Yes.
You're more like Fanny Craddock, Graham.
Whatever happened to the Galloping Gourmet? So it's very difficult to slice a steak that way, but it's just an idea for you in the future. You could do
So
thinner ones.
what kind of seasoning are we having with this?
Just bear with me on this because I've not done this before on camera. So what? Tell me the difference between these sirloin steaks and a regular co-op bought sirloin steak. No offence to Liz, by the way.
Right, so the normal beef you get in the butchers, modern breeds mature in about 20, 22 months. So most meat you get in the butcher won't be as old as 2 years old. And with the modern breeds, the Charleys, the Simmentals, the Limousines, they feed them up with grain to get them to grow faster and quicker and fill out better. And that's what happens. Whereas with the Highland cattle, it takes them 4 years to get fully grown. No matter what you do with them, it'll take them 4 years to get fully grown. And so mine are just grass fed. The only thing they get, apart from grass, is what they call brewer's grain, or we call it draff, and it's the byproduct from the distillery.
Oh, wow.
So it's the spent barley after they've made the whiskey. That's used to, so in the winter time they get some of that and some silage, which is grass. In the summer they're up on grass and heather and it's quite a rough bit I've got, so they're picking up all of that. So in amongst that you've got bits of clover and wildflower and whatever. And the Highlanders are foragers. So you imagine, all modern cattle are grazers. If there's grass there, they'll be fine. If there's no grass there, they'll starve. Whereas the Highlanders will go raking
They'll
and
go
looking
find it.
and eating all sorts of stuff. We've got some fir trees up there that have spilled over from the forestry, and they're all nibbled up to about 6 foot high now.
Oh wow.
And the cows have eaten them. They eat the heather. So you're getting all of that through the flavour of the meat. But the fact it's taken 4 years to get to that stage, and it's got what they call marbling, thin layers of fat through it. So when Graham's cooking that, the bit in the middle that doesn't look fat has got thin layers of fat that's cooking into the meat and adding the flavour to the meat. So that's the difference between your co-op sirloin and your cheese shop sirloin, pal.
But you're not just doing steaks, you do the whole
We
beast.
do everything, so it's the whole animal. So Ian Anderson, that used to be at the butcher at Blackwater, and he was a slaughterman at Blackwater Foot when it was on the go there. He's now a butcher and slaughterman up in Mull, but he still lives in Purnmill, and he comes home every fortnight. And so he takes our cattle away and does everything with them, and it comes back to us frozen and pre-packed, if you like. And so we do burgers, beef olives, all the steaks, roast, mince, stew, sausages.
So do you order it as a? I mean, can you just go into the cheese shop and buy a steak, or do you have to order it up?
No, you can do either or. So on Facebook I had a couple of the barbecue pack and a family pack, and that was just to make it easier for folk and lumped a lot of stuff together.
And also to show what you offered, that you could have
Yeah,
a bit
yeah.
of variation in things.
But you can go into a cheese shop, buy a packet of sausages or 2 sirloins or whatever you want. So we sell that in the cheese shop, and there's signage up. Because it's frozen, I can't have it on display, but there's signage up talking about it, and we get a lot of folk come through the shop and just want to buy some stew or a roast or whatever it might be, some steaks.
You're a busy man.
Well, I try
Right.
to be.
Is this working? Are we looking anywhere near professional?
Well, I can't see up there, Graham. I've got
No,
a
I know
set of
you
eyes and
I know you can't. So what we've got is I had hoped to have some of George Grass's bread, but he's replacing his oven this week. So we've got some sourdough bread from the. We've got some sourdough bread
Bakehouse?
from the co-op. No, the bakehouse is shut at the moment.
All right, okay.
So I'm frying some onions, and I've put some of my liquid smoke in, which you can
I know,
only get
there's a comment here, you know, like,
What?
I can't believe you put liquid smoke on it.
liquid smoke on the onions. They're not on the steak. You can buy liquid smoke on Amazon, but you can't get it anywhere locally, as far as I know. It's fantastic stuff. You just literally need a drop, and that's it. So we're toasting the bread.
So I'm assuming you're not a vegetarian then?
no, definitely not.
I know this isn't the show for vegetarians.
No, I like
I did
a
think
bit
about
of meat with my meal in there. I'm not into salads.
Who are you on at the moment? Are you on yourselves or on
We're
me?
on here. Do you want us to go on
Well,
to you?
just give me another 30 seconds then, and then we'll start putting this together.
So you're going to put some cheeses on this?
We're going to put some of Gordon's blue cheese on top of some of his steaks, and then we're going to shut the lid, and that'll just melt. Having never done it before, that's what's going to happen. It'll be fine.
So this is the award-winning blue cheese.
This is the blue cheese that you make down at Bellevue.
So yeah, we make that at Bellevue. So we now get the milk from Tynefrere Farm, which is just round the corner. John Murch's
Fantastic.
at Bellevue. And when the creamery shut 2 years ago, the milk was lifted, and it was getting hauled to the mainland, but they had told them it was only going to happen for so long. So First Milk had the contract to do that, and so they were taking it off the island. So it looked like we were going to run out of milk. So between myself and Alistair at Arm Dairies Ice Cream, we came to an agreement with John that we would buy his milk and use it in ice cream and the cheese, And Alistair's now got the liquid milk machines that are in.
I know which. Oh, it's
Round
fun.
Island.
I'd forgotten how nice it
Oh, it's
tasted.
so much
You
better.
You forget. You know, you the first time I've got my wee bottle and I take it down to the shop and you fill it up and you go back and you forget about it and then you go and you pour it on your cereal or you use it in anything, and that hit of what it reminds you of what milk should taste like.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful.
It tastes so different from the stuff that you get nowadays.
Yeah, no.
It's the stuff that's sold generally in the supermarkets is homogenised, and homogenised kind of means all broken down and put back together again, and it makes it last much longer, and that's the difference. And so the local milk won't last a huge amount of time.
And that was always the complaint. I
days.
remember years ago, people said, "Oh, it doesn't last very long." And you think because there's no chemicals in it.
But the thing is, if you go back 30 or 40 years ago and somebody had said it doesn't last very long, you said, how long does it last? Well, 4 or 5 days. They'd be saying that's what it should be.
Yeah, it doesn't last
But
that long in our
nowadays,
house.
folk are that used to milk, you know, lasting a fortnight and,
No, it's,
and
no.
so on. But it's
So
good milk.
with the other cheeses, these
Yeah.
ones, I mean, how many varieties have you got? I don't even know if I've had them all yet. I keep finding new ones.
So we've got 14 different flavoured cheddars.
14.
Yeah, and we do about. Last year, I think we did about 65 tonnes, which is over around about 300,000.
So what's the most
Jesus.
popular one? See, I like the oak smoke. That's the one. If I'm going to have to choose, I'll
the smoked would be the most popular, just and no more. But after that, you've got mustard, you've got chilli, you've got the plain one. These are all sitting at the same level. And
The
smoked,
chilli one's quite chilly.
Aye, it
It's
is.
good. I took some of that to. It was a heart workshop, and I hadn't mentioned, and it was you could see people's faces as they thought, "Oh, geez, oh." It's got quite a kick in it.
Right, you guys ready for this? And if you can just go close in on the other camera for me. Thank you. Have you got the picture there?
Right, got it now.
Yeah, got it now. Okay, so.
Oh, that's
so
looking good.
That's the cheese just melting.
so is the camera
Nice little
now
watercress
on
salad and some sliced tomatoes, and we're done. So I'm taking it. You want some of this?
I'll have a wee taste.
Because I know you. You go
Couldn't eat a
go
whole
home
one.
and watch this show with Les and your daughter, and you'll go home saying you haven't eaten anything. So I'll slice a bit up.
So really, with the cheeses, it's across the board. They're all
Leave that for you,
popular.
Anne.
They're all popular. There's about 5 that are better sellers than the rest, but there's nothing so bad that you would want to get rid of it. And so, they all do well.
Wow. I know if ever I'm going on to the mainland or I'm sending anything, there has to be Arran cheese in it. It's just that's a given. There has to be.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's just as well sometimes because they sell it on the boat. I don't know if they still do. I haven't been on the boat for about a year now. But
Yes, they
had
still
it,
do.
so you can at least you can get it there if you've
they
forgotten
still
to
do.
stock
but,
up.
But it's getting well known across all of Scotland now, and so it's. I enjoy it when I'm on holiday and you meet somebody that's Scottish and they're asking what you do and you tell them and they're giving, oh, it's that Arran cheese. I love that. That puts a smile on my face.
And of course you do the chutneys as well.
Yeah. So what happened was January, February, March, we were always quiet. A lot of retail is quiet. And I was always looking for something for my staff to do. So we come up with this. Now we make about 10,000 jars of chutney, store them in a container and sell them throughout the year and that.
Oh, I do apologise. I was going to put a bit of your chutney on that platter, actually.
That's all right, pal.
So you'll just have to forgive me. Right. Now, just remember you've got your microphone next to you when you're eating. So we're now going to hear parts of mine and Heather's digestive system.
I'm tempted to wait for a bit before I have mine. I'm tempted to wait, although it does look rather nice. Are you going to have a piece?
Thank
You're
you.
gonna
Yeah,
have a
come on,
piece.
Gordon. You've got to have something of your own food.
There we go.
And we've made 2 sandwiches, and the other one's going to get trashed.
Oh, working up.
Right, Andy, do you want to say hello? Anya Carter's sitting there with his new haircut. Without his haircut. Do you want to be on the video? Right. Okay. Well, so there is my niece Anya, and
They're so good.
Carter, who's looking forward to getting his hair cut on Saturday. And Dusty's in the background if you wondered where he was.
He's been very well behaved, or is he tied up to something?
He's well and truly tied up. Well, he's already had the oatcakes off the table. So, well, you're not going to say anything else, but that's absolutely staggeringly good, isn't it?
It's fantastic, Graham.
The only
Yep,
thing I
it's
would
excellent.
say it needs is a proper barbecue rather than a gas barbecue would probably make it a little bit more
Smoky.
authentic. But, and I've found cooking your steaks, you need to seal them very quickly and then cook them maybe a little bit slower
Yeah.
than you would with a regular sirloin.
So with Highland beef, you want to maybe do it a wee bit more than you would normally do. So if you like your steak rare, you would do it just a wee bit more, especially with sirloin's all right, but once you get to the lesser cuts. And the idea is that there's this marbling, this fat through it,
Yeah.
and the more cooking it gets, the more it exposes that fat to it, and that's what you're tasting in the flavour.
And I missed, maybe I was cooking onions too loudly, but do you do a fillet steak?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
no T-bones. Have you cut the
No.
steak into a T-bone yet? No. Okay.
No, there's only so much, and the thing is, we've still got some steaks left, and the beef came back last week. During lockdown, when the beef was brought back to us and the freezers were empty, beef was brought back, came back on the Friday. I put it on Facebook on Monday lunchtime, and by then all the steaks had been sold. And you had people that know Ian Anderson, that follow him on Facebook, phoning us up saying, Ian says he's coming back to Ireland, has he got your beef with him? Can we order some steaks? And so the steaks will sell all day long. So we don't need to go into messing about with T-bone or tomahawk or any of those.
It's also
Kind of cuts.
it's proving that your reputation is so good that they know they're going to get a good quality product.
Well, we're getting a lot of that. We're getting a lot of folk that's phone us when your meat's coming back in and so on and so forth.
It's
And they'll
it's
come and
got
spend a lot
a
of
much
money
more
to-
distinctive flavour than
Yeah.
a regular steak as well.
Without a
You've
doubt.
had some of these, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I have. We had some.
But yeah, it's great.
We
I don't know
didn't.
what you're missing.
I know. I'll get there. I
You
will
just wanna
get there.
unplug that microphone. and
Yeah,
get
I
back
don't
in,
think I
just
could. I
dive
don't
in.
think I could cope. I don't
know.
think I can cope.
I've also already given people the benefit of my crunchy sourdough bread that I've got from the co-op. You can't eat it with your gums.
It certainly smells nice. It smells lovely from here, and I will taste a bit in a minute.
No, it's absolutely delicious.
Good. Well, I would hope so. I can't see that comment about the oil. The smoke is disappeared. But anyway, yeah. So that's Gordon's steaks and his cheeses and your chutney range as well, which you've been doing for. Well, I should know because I've been doing your labels for so long. But
Probably 4 years ago,
yeah,
I
must
think.
be about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been good as well. Have we got anything else we want to do before we you just want to get off now, don't you?
It depends whether you want to.
Oh, to mention that.
Yeah,
Well, our pending new ferry,
Arden Ferry goes into dry dock.
it's gone back into dry dock to have everything that was done to it removed.
It's still empty inside, though. I think
That's plywood. All that superstructure up there, that's not even the bridge.
they've painted it on the outside, so it looks a lot nicer when they've
like
given
a,
the.
it's
It looks
like a big model of itself.
yes, because the photograph I saw recently, before it had been painted up, it looked pretty rusty.
And that big appendage is being taken off
Yeah, well, that had to go.
because it
That-
can't get anywhere with that.
It definitely had to go,
It
but they're actually almost trying to blame some of the delay, the 3-year delay, on the pandemic.
Sorry.
Well, I'm sure.
Why not? Let's just blame everything on the pandemic. Yeah.
So
the
it-
dirty wine glass. It must have been the pandemic. Did you pick that off my shelf?
Yes.
The whole thing's been a fiasco. And it's been government money that's getting spent.
It doesn't
I
fill
can
me with
underst-
confidence.
It doesn't. And I can understand them saying, look, if we're going to build a ferry, let's build it in this country and not give the money. But you got to other countries, but you've got to make sure that we've got the ability to do that. And you've had people post on Facebook, ferries getting sold second hand for 10 million, 20 million.
Oh, we did
whatever.
that.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
No.
We've all been on the ferry side.
You find government money, it's not their own money they're spending. You and I have got businesses. If we needed something,
Yeah.
we wouldn't approach it the same way they do.
No.
And if you won the lottery and you wanted a house built, you would go to the builder and say, what's the price? And that would be the price. Whereas you've got your pier that's going up and up and up in price, and Parliament and so on and so forth, and this ferry. And it's just ludicrous.
Anyway, well,
The trouble is, we're still running the old ferry, which is not reliable either. I mean, that's not.
No. And,
I mean, how does that affect your business? Does that?
yes, it does. It does.
I think it affects everybody.
Everyone's
Affects everybody.
business. You know, Graham will be waiting for something coming in, and it can't get here because the ferry's not running. I'm waiting for customers coming at my door. Can't get because the ferry's not running.
absolutely. Yeah,
I've got customers in the mainland waiting on hampers, waiting on wholesale cheese, and it can't get out because the ferry's not running.
I think we should go back to the old fishing boat that did the mail. That never missed a run. It was a man
heard
in
that.
Butte that did it.
Yeah.
I spoke to him.
Have you seen what people have been buying on Amazon? I mean, you're talking wheelbarrows and stuff like that. That's all not going to get.
No, but even just for the smaller things, you could still get some. The newspapers, that was the other one. I think he used to. Did they not bring the newspapers too?
I think they did, yes. Yeah.
Enjoy that.
Because it was years ago I spoke to him. He was the man that did it, and he never ever missed a run, no matter what the weather was like. I think it was an old fishing boat. And
Your daughter's just piped up. Don't get my dad started on Calmac, she says. All right, Alice.
Thanks, Alice.
We're leaving it there. We'll leave it there. Gordon, thank you very much for coming in.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you for
And
the,
thank you for the lovely
thank you for
sandwich.
Well, you're
the
very
cheeses and
yeah. And Gordon's steaks, I have to say, they all come frozen, so you do have to leave them, and I would leave them a good 24, 36 hours in the fridge. Don't try and fast defrost them by any means. That, I think, is the secret. And I do know what I'm talking about a little bit with this, because I did cook a few steaks in my time, but
I fast defrost a lot of stuff.
yeah, well, your steaks
Yeah.
are, you really need to, treat them with a bit of TLC
Yeah.
and cook them quick fry them, quick grill them, whatever you're doing, and then just carry on the cooking for a little bit longer. And they're stunning. So, anyway, so that's that. Good afternoon, Mark. Please make sure Gordon has plenty of water to drink. Why, it's not that salty. I don't know. He has to come on and say something. One thing I didn't get to show you, and I can't show you because the food's all on top of it, is my new table that I've made. But I will do that one time.
yeah, sorry, I
was
covered
very
it. It's a
I was
perfect
very
size.
It's a lovely
impressed
table,
with
Graham.
well, thank you. I was very impressed with
And
mine.
for Aaron, it's the weight, it
Fine.
won't blow away.
No, it's
Yeah,
not going to.
yeah.
That's not going to
It's
blow
gonna be
anywhere.
heavy over
this
here.
This is one of mine as well. But anyway, I don't have to flaunt my assets like that.
Well, it's been lovely talking to
Yes,
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're
Thank you.
desperate to get into that
I know,
steak.
I know, I know.
I think maybe you should just keep the camera on, pretend I've just gone to the credits. We'll speak to you during the week, I should think, sometime.
Yeah, we'll have
All
something
right.
during the week.
Bye for now.
Bye now.